Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Kamil Saini bin Kamarudin with the matrix number of 072729. And today I'll be talking about my poster presentations of the research methodology subject. And my poster is titled The Turning of Crisis into Opportunity, Economic Cooperations between Malaysia and Japan during the Second Oil Shock. First of all, what should we know? No, what do we know? We know that Malaysia and Japan's relations now is good because of what we have done in the past. But how? How is it good? Because didn't Japan invade and occupy us during the Second World War? So that's what happened during the Second Oil Shock. We, Malaysia, has created bilateral relations with Japan in exchange for what we need. It's just we exchange something with them and they exchange something with us. And that is what we always do to ensure that bilateral relations is successful. So besides that, no, our main topic is the oil shock. But what is oil shock about actually? Oil shock is actually the surge of price globally where some of the natural resources, oil obviously, spike as high as it could be, and it burdens the oil-dependent country, for example, Japan. And why exactly did that happen? It's because during the year of 1979, after the Iranian Revolution, it has caused the surge of price as Iran decided to not produce oil and export to other countries in the world. But why Iran? What is so good about them? That's where you should know that Iran is a member of OPEC, and Iran is the major producer of oil. And even in OPEC, which stands for Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, Iran is among the top producer of oil. So without them supplying the oil to the world, most of the oil-dependent countries suffers heavily because they need oil to progress, because oils are used in their technologies. In this study, I have focused on the method of study that used the document analysis and case studies, where I've referred to online journals, articles, and more from the researchers and scholars that have studied this case before. So what was my research questions and objectives about? Well, I've focused on the key factors that influenced Malaysia's economic cooperation with Japan during the Second Oil Shock, the role Look East policy play in enhancing cooperation between the two nations after the oil shock, and lastly, the method that Malaysia and Japan has used to overcome challenges posed by the Second Oil Shock to promote economic cooperation. And in this study, I have focused on two main journals titled The Oil Shock's Legacy Lessons and Lasting Reverberations by the Middle East Institute, where in this journal, Julian Ely, who is an analyst in state energy, has stated that the 1979 world crisis has impacted the global economy negatively as it brought the downfall of OPEC's oil production. OPEC, as we know, is the main producer of oil. And the next journal is The Evolution of ASEAN-Japan Economic Cooperation, where it stated that the Second Oil Shock is a worldwide recession to trade friction, and it has dealt a heavy blow to the sea region. And as we can see, for example, Malaysia's growth was affected as it decreased from 8% to 5.1%, which is a lot in the global economic scale. And the theory that I focus is the theory of liberalism, because as we know, liberalism focuses on peaceful manner of solving something, and most importantly in international relations, it is to achieve national interests. And unlike realism, which focuses on hard power, it focuses on soft power, where we use trade agreements and negotiations to solve and achieve something which was done by Malaysia and Japan from what I found in this study. And the background of research is that during the second oil shock, Malaysia and Japan's relations were okay, but after that it was increasing. Until now, we are one of the highest partner of Japan. But what was the problem that the crisis had caused? The crisis had severely disrupted global economies, where industrialized nations like Japan that focuses on energy imports lacks the source of energy to sustain the technological advancement. With the lack of oil to sustain their technological advancement, they had to look for someone to help them, which is what we are. Malaysia had helped Japan to recover from the oil shock. We had supplied them with oil and they supplied us with technology. This is a win-win situation because it is a bilateral policy that was reached by both nations on a consensus. So why exactly did we study this? We studied this because this research provides a clear and detailed analysis on Malaysia, Japan's cooperation during the second oil shock, and it serves as a guidance for nations interested in strengthening bilateral relations by taking advantage of their own economic strength. And besides that, it also highlights the potential of collaborations during the global crisis to mitigate it in the future. And my scope of study in this research was the economic cooperation between Malaysia and Japan during the second oil shock, where I've only focused most of the time on the energy trade, the technology transfer, and bilateral policy of both of them to reach a consensus. And besides that, I also studied the Malaysia and Japan's diplomatic relations, and the study time frame is around 1979 to 1980, and the research method that I've explained about just now is on the qualitative approach of study. In conclusion, the study found that Malaysia and Japan's relations had improved after the oil shock because we have helped them and they helped us in exchange. Both are gaining benefits. So that is what I could find from the research that I've done. Both nations receive benefits from what they have done because they help each other, and that is what we focus on, the peaceful manner of solving situations. And in this case, the oil crisis was solved where Malaysia and Japan were not exactly heavily affected because they have laid strategic foundations, while other countries are still struggling with the oil crisis. So that's all from me. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.